In this particular audio, I'm going to give a synopsis of spectrum. Okay, chapter wise. So, very first chapter is related to a brief history of uh, modern India, which is the name of the book, The Revolt of 1857. This is the first chapter. So, revolt, a product of character and policies of colonial rule. Economic causes, when we are talking about heavy taxation under new revenue settlement, summary evictions, discriminatory tariff policy against Indian products, destruction of traditional handicraft industry, and absence of concomitant industrialization on modern lines that hit peasants, artisans, and small zamindars. Political causes, when we are talking about greedy policy of aggrandizement, then absentee sovereigntyship, character of British rule, British inheritance and socio-religious affairs of Indian public. Military causes, when you are talking about discontent among sepoys for economic, psychological, and religious reasons, coupled with a long history of revolts. Center of revolts and leaders, when you are talking about Delhi, led by General Bhakt Khan, Kanpur, Nana Sahab, Lucknow, Begum Hajat Mahal, Bareilly, Khan Bahadur, Bihar, Kunwar Singh, Faizabad, Maulvi Ahmadullah, Jhansi, Rani Lakshmibai. The British resistance in Delhi, Lieutenant William Boy and John Nicholson and Lieutenant Hudson suppressed the movement. In Kanpur, Sir Hugh Wheeler and Sir Colin Campbell. In Lucknow, Henry Lawrence, Henry Havelock and Sir Colin Campbell. And Jhansi particularly, Sir Hugh Rose suppressed the movement, and Benares, Colonel James Neal suppressed the movement. Then causes of failure, when we are talking about why 1857 war, or you can say revolt, was failed, because of limited territorial and social base, crucial support of certain sections of Indian public to British authorities, lack of resources as compared to those of the British, lack of coordination and central leadership, lack of coherent ideology and political perspective. Nature, when we are talking about not quite the first war of independence, but showed the seeds of nationalism and quest for freedom from alien rule. Some quotes are there. It is difficult to avoid the conclusion that the so-called First National War of Independence of 1857 is neither first nor national nor war of independence. That is quoted by R.C. Majumdar. Hugh Rose quoted about Rani Lakshmibai. Here lay the woman who was the only man among the rebels. Stanley Wolpert quoted, it was far more than a mutiny, yet much less than a first war of independence. When we are talking about effect, after 1857, Crown took over, company rule abolished, Queen's proclamation altered administration, and army reorganized, and racial hatred deepened. Now is the turn of second chapter, religious and social reform movements. So very first, factors which gave rise to reform movements: presence of colonial government on Indian soil, that is the particular region, the most important region. Then the second one, various ills plaguing Indian society like obstructionism, superstition, polytheism, adultery, degraded position of women, exploitive caste hierarchy, spread of education and increased awareness of the world, impact of modern Western culture, and consciousness of defeat by foreign power. Rising tide of nationalism and democracy during the late 19th century. Social base, when we are talking about emerging middle class and Western education intellectuals. Ideological base, these are related to rationalism, religious universalism, humanism, and secularism, somehow impacted very much to middle intelligentsia. Social reform components, we are talking about betterment of position of women, degraded position due to parda system, early marriage, lack of education, unequal rights in marriage, divorce and inheritance, polygamy, female infanticide, restrictions on widow marriage, remarriage, sati pratha. Major contributors to reform: social reform movements, freedom struggle movements led by enlightened women, free India's constitution. So legislative measures for women, when we are talking about, so some lists are there, some names are there in the list. We are having Bengal Regulation 1829 banning sati, Bengal Regulation 1795-1804 declining infanticide illegal, Hindu Widows Remarriage Act 1856, then Age of Consent Act 1891, Sarda Act, which changes the age of marriage. Boys, for boys it was 18 and girls for 14. Then a Special Marriage Act 1954, Hindu Marriage Act in 1955, Hindu Succession Act 1956, which gave daughter as higher. Then Child Marriage Restraint Amendment Act, that is 1978, Suppression of Immoral Traffic Act in Women and Girls 1956, amended in 1986, Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, which was amended in 1986. Then struggle against caste-based exploitation. Factors undermining caste rigidities. These are forces unleashed by colonial administration, social reform movements, national movement, Gandhi's campaign against untouchability, stirring among lower castes due to better education and employment, Free India's constitution, then reform movements when we are talking about among Hindus. Very first we are talking about Bengal, then Western India, then Southern India, and then all India. So particularly in Bengal, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, and he was made, or you can say founded, Brahmo Samaj in 1828 and Atmiya Sabha in 1814 in Kolkata. Then Debendranath and Tattvabodhini Sabha. So Debendranath Tagore was founded Tattvabodhini Sabha in 1839. Then Keshav Chandra Sen and Brahmo Samaj of India. Then Pratna Samaj in 1863 in Bombay. Then Deorojio and Young Bengal movement. Then Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, secretary of Bethune School, which was established in 1849. Western India, when we are talking about, Bal Shastri Ambedkar wrote Darpan in 1832, Students' Literary and Scientific Societies, Paramahansa Mandalis 1849 in Maharashtra. Then Jyotiba Phule and Satya Sodhak Samaj in 1873, Gopal Hari Deshmukh, Lokahitwadi, Gopal Ganesh Agarkar, then Servants of India Society 1905 by B.G. Tilak. Sorry, not B.G. Tilak, Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Then Southern India, Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalla movement, then Justice movement is there, then Vokaliga Sangha, then Self-Respect movement and Temple Entry movement. So Temple Entry movement, Sri Narayan Guru said, one religion, one caste, one God for mankind. All India, when we are talking about Ramakrishna movement and Vivekananda, then Dayanand Saraswati and Arya Samaj, which was established in Bombay 1875 and its headquartered in Lahore. Then Theosophical movement is related with it. Then among Muslims, when we are talking about Wahhabi or Walullah movement, Ahmadiyya movement, which supported Western liberal education, and among Indian Muslims, then Sir Sayyid Ahmad Khan and Aligarh movement, which is somehow reconcile Western scientific education and teaching of Quran also. When we are talking about Deoband movement, that is somehow supported pure teaching of Quran, Hadith, and alive the spirit of jihad. Among Parsis, when we are talking about Rahnumai, Hazrat Mazdaya Sanan Sabha, and among Sikhs, when we are talking about Singh Sabha movement and Akali movement, and when we are talking about positive contributions, so liberations of individual from conformity, out of fear, psychosis, worship made a more personal affair, cultural roots to the middle class, thus mitigating the sense of humiliation, much needed self-respect gained, and then fostered secular outlook, then encouraged social climate for modernization, then ended India's cultural, intellectual isolation from rest of the world, and evolution of national consciousness. When we're talking about negative contributions, narrow social base indirectly encouraged mysticism, overemphasis on religion, philosophical aspects of culture, while under-emphasizing secular and moral aspects. Hindus confined their praise to ancient Indian history and Muslims to medieval history, and then created a notion of two separate peoples and increased communal consciousness. Then historical process of evolution of composite culture arrested to some extent. So this much is all about chapter number 2, and now is the turn of chapter number 3, which is the struggle begins. Factors in growth of modern nationalism, understanding of contradictions in Indian and colonial interests, political, administrative, and economic unification of the country, Western thought and education, role of press and literature, rediscovery of India's past historical researchers, then rise of middle class intelligentsia. Impact of contemporary movements worldwide and reactionary policies and radical racial arrogance of rulers. Then political associations before Indian National Congress, which was established in 1885. So some are there which are very important. 1836 Bang Sabha Prakashaka Sabha, Bang Bhasha Prakashaka Sabha, Zamindari Association or Landholders Society. 1843 Bengal British India Society. 1851 British Indian Association. In 1866 in East India Association by Dadabhai Naoroji. 1875 Indian League by Shishir K. Ghosh. 1876 Indian Association of Calcutta by Surendranath Banerjee and Anand Mohan Bose. Then 1867 Pune Sarvajanik Sabha by M.T. Ranade. 1885 Bombay Presidency Association, and 1884 Madras Mahajan Sabha. Early nationalist methodology, when we are talking about constitutional agitation within four walls of law, create public opinion in India and campaign for support to Indian demands in England, political education of people, political connection with Britain and India's interests. At that stage, time not ripe for direct challenge to colonial rule. Contributions of moderate nationalists, economic critique of British imperialism, then constitutional reforms and propaganda in legislature, then campaign for general administrative reforms and defense of civil right.